what he said, you doofus.
Alright, so never mind, I'm not killing Rocket tonight, I'm killing Anderson.
Yay!
Dies from potato overload.
Okay. Now
Does
that I've
Gwen
deafened
still
myself.
maybe get a new stepmommy?
Welcome back, everyone, to the Shield Against Midnight, a 7th edition Call of Cthulhu game set in
Gwen
1969.
still maybe get a new stepmommy?
Oh, Christ, I've completely
Welcome
lost
back,
thread
everyone,
of
to the
this.
Shield Against Midnight.
I'm sorry.
Shit. Last time we were with our heroes, we closed out the Vietnam arc of our storyline, and now we're back stateside, where a new handler for the team has been revealed, although not named. And we did our big rest period and advancements. That being said, there is something I did forget to mention at the start of last session that was actually kind of important, so I'm going to do it now before I forget again. And that is, while the team had a month off, they would actually notice a pretty big shift politically in the United States. While support for the Vietnam War had largely been drying up and shifting to a very staunch anti-war stance from the American public due to the horrific images that had been broadcast on the news, as well as talks about the My Lai massacre and other just horrific things committed overseas, as well as questioning whether we had the authority to be involved in the Vietnam War to begin with. There has been a distinct change since the massacre at Mui Chua. Images coming back of the North Vietnamese the carnage caused by the North Vietnamese funded and Chinese-backed Khmer Rouge have radically shifted public opinion, where former anti-war protests were met with pro-war counter-protests demanding for justice for Mui Chua, even as the news reports that, all things considered with the massacre, actually due to some lack of preparation on the soldiers' part, most of the village managed to escape alive. They were able to retreat into the foothills and jungles relatively easily, since there was the attack came on all of a sudden, but did not effectively cut off their escape routes. In fact, there has been a very famous, now tearful interview on every major news network showing the harbor master that you guys met on the docks, crying into the camera and speaking of his children that had been murdered or kidnapped during the attack. President Nixon has called for an escalation of efforts in Vietnam, including pledging another 60,000 troops to the ground, as well as a major naval buildup in the region. Although some of you may suspect there is more of an ulterior motive to it than just the war in Southeast Asia. But that hasn't taken effect yet. He's calling for the buildup over time. That being said, while all of you would have gotten this would be the state of the world you're dealing with now, and this would be the major shift. Each of our characters would have their month of downtime, and we've already covered more or less how they've spent that month. But as that month ended, each and every one of you would be contacted individually, perhaps by a note passed by a stranger or a mysterious phone call, telling you that it's time to get back to work, as well as giving you a time and location that you're going to be needed. Allow me to open my notes. Kind of caught myself a little blindsided here. As things, the time and place would be, let's see, it would be February, March. It would be March 4th at Harriman State Park in New York, just north of New York City. They would give you directions as well as means to get there if you needed. If you weren't able to drive yourself, you could get a driver. That being said, two of you would receive a time earlier than the rest. Not that you'd really necessarily know this unless you're going to call up everybody else in the team and say, hey, what time are you supposed to be there? What time are you showing up? Kind of thing. But while most people are being told to arrive around 5 o'clock Eastern, Miss Gwen and Miss Parvana have been told to arrive about 2 hours earlier than the rest of the team. So, with that stage set, let's return to the world of the Shield Against Midnight. Now, Gwen, Parvana, how are y'all getting to the state park in New York?
I'm assuming Alvar would drive them all. Or, well, you know, him and Gwen,
Drive Gwen.
and
Okay.
Rocket.
Yeah. Parvana, how are you getting there? You just gonna drive yourself, Miss Former Cabbie?
Yeah, she's gonna drive herself.
Okay. Well, the road that you're going to be traveling along isn't hard to find or follow. This is actually one of the main thoroughfares through the state park, and the destination is just 2 turns off the main road. It's actually a ranger station, so it's very well marked out. There are signs pointing you to it, and once you arrive, there is in fact even a large stone sign out front of the building declaring it declaring that this is the red leather, yellow leather, medium crop plot blueprint. Okay. Declaring that this is a ranger station for Harriman National Park, or Harriman State Park, as well as having the New York Forest Rangers icon on it in big old letters, plain to see. It's very near one of the trails, so as I said, easy to find. And as you rolled up outside of the little log cabin, Rocket would be the first out the door, bolting across the grass to the tree line, where he would then drop to the grass and roll on his back a little bit before bolting right back to Gwen, pleased as can be.
Gwen would have a small heart attack, but just because she wouldn't have used to have been upset or alarmed, I should say, by that kind of thing. But now it's a little more sensitive of whether or not he's in her control. But at any rate, when he came back to her, she would snap his harness on and everything and get him on a leash and get out of the car with Alvar.
Alvar would just kind of survey the area and look around to see another car approaching close behind you as Parvana rolled up. And sort of as she would roll up to, it's not quite a parking lot, it's more of a front lawn where people have parked before. You would see from the cabin a man step out. A man familiar to the narrative, but not familiar to anybody present in character. Average height, dressed in a U.S. Forestry Service uniform, with a waxed mustache that kind of curls at the corners in a style that's been out of date for a couple of decades now, but still somehow fits the man's face. Handsome, good-looking fellow with dark brown hair, except for a tremendous scar running alongside his right cheekbone that leads to an ear missing its upper half, thoroughly cauliflowered and damaged. The man would step out on the porch of the building and kind of give a small wave before lazily walking down the steps towards Gwen and Alvar. As he got closer, he'd say, Miss Cascella? Mr. Cascella? Oh god, that just sounds unpleasant. May I call you Gwen and Alvar? And he would hold out his hand for a handshake.
Gwen would kind of look at him for a moment, just kind of sizing him up, because she's not super thrilled to be here. It's not like she's anything against this man. She's never met him. She just doesn't like the fucking situation, but she would just kind of grunt something in the affirmative and shake his hand.
Alvar would say, be a little bit more warm to the man and say, "Yeah, you can go ahead and call me Alvar. It's nice to meet you." The man would firmly shake Alvar's hand, despite being a little shook by Alvar's hand, being of average size and Alvar being of average bear size. He kind of offers a small smile and says, "It's a pleasure to meet you too, Mr. Cascella." Alvar, sorry. And then he would look to see the parking car and say, "Looks like our the other early arrival is here. I'm gonna go say hi. You guys go ahead and head on inside. I'll meet you in there." And then would kind of meander off to go greet Miss Parvana.
And she would drive up, take a look, step out of the car, see the man coming, and just... What has she been told so far? Just be here? Has she been
More or
told?
less, be here. This is going to be your briefing for the next mission. Not that much.
All right.
But the man, as he sees Miss Parvana step out of the car, he'd smile again. "Miss Kadavar, Ranger Manson, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, Ranger Manson.
I'm going to be your new Delta Green liaison."
Well, you have big shoes to fill.
Not entirely pleasant shoes from what I've understood and read of your files.
Extraordinarily uncomfortable shoes.
Yeah, I'm hoping to rectify some of that today. That's actually why I brought you and Miss Cascella out here a little bit before the rest of the team. Though I assure you they will be out here, and he checks his watch, within a couple of hours. But why don't we go ahead and head inside?
All right. And she'll follow.
As you would head inside, more or less Gwen and Alvar and Rocket leading the way, you would come into what at first seems to be an office where it's got a desk behind which a ranger might sit and paperwork strewn about. It's also a home. It looks like a cabin that you can see beyond the desk where paperwork would be accomplished and somebody might be able to check in or file a report. You see a kitchen as well as a living room with couches to sit on in front of a fireplace. There's no TV in the living room, but it would otherwise be a comfortable place to recline with a nice low table for drinks and the like. There is on the right side near the desk a big old cabinet that plainly locked up rifles and shotguns and the like. And as you would step inside, Ranger Manson, as he identified himself, would kind of point at the case and say, "If y'all brought any guns, I would appreciate it if you checked them. Really not a big fan of just having loaded handguns around. Old gun safety instructor in me doesn't care for it."
Gwen just kind of wordlessly makes an open palm gesture, like, I didn't bring fuck all, actually.
Alvar kind of does the same. "No, I'm..."
Parvana takes out a pistol and puts it on the table.
"Thank you very much." The man goes ahead, pulls out a ring of keys that had been sitting in his pocket, unlocks the case, goes ahead and just pockets the lock for now, but he's going to unload her pistol and put it in the rifle cabinet. Not locking again, but closing it. She'd be able to get to it pretty easily if she wanted to. After that, he'd usher everybody into the living room and kind of rub his hands together. All right. So, first things first, Miss Kadavar, I'm sure you already have been made aware of this, but you are being promoted to team lead in Chase's absence. So, congratulations on that. I know it's a big responsibility, but we're definitely more than we feel you're more than capable of handling it.
Fair. Yeah. I suppose I do have, by technicality, the most under my belt right now.
Yeah, I know how discomforting that can be, but trust me, you're going to have as much support as we can give you. I'm not the same as the previous liaison you had to suffer.
All right, so we might know what we're getting into then. Good.
Absolutely. That being said, Miss Koskela, I will admit I invited you out here early ahead of everyone else because I wanted to have a conversation with you and your team lead to clear the air and hopefully help. Man kind of pauses and thinks about his words. Help take some tension off your shoulders.
Gwen doesn't say anything, just kind of staring at him, waiting for him to keep talking.
Man kind of waits for a response and then shrugs. All right. I want you to understand, I'm not a spy. Before working with Delta Green, I was with the U.S. Forestry Search and Rescue. I'm sorry, I don't think like a spy. I don't act like a spy. And I'll be perfectly honest, I don't like some of the... He pauses again, thinking for the right words. I don't really particularly care for some of the implication that has been used to so far keep you in check. I think it has very negatively affected the performance of the team, as well as it's shown through some of the reports that it's negatively affected you as well. So, let me dispel any illusions you have. Your family is not at threat working with us, and I'm sure you'll take that. I'm sure that'll be a weight off your shoulders as well, Alvar. And Alvar would nod long and slow while keeping his focus on the man, who would then turn back to Gwen. Now, through unfortunate circumstances, though, I do have one thing to say, and that's that you've come in contact with an artifact. Something otherworldly, something we don't understand. And in that regard, we can't let you go either. It's not something we can just have walking out on the streets. But I'm not about to throw you in a prison cell. I'm not about to kill you for it. And to be perfectly honest, I think the best possible outcome for us and for you is to attempt to separate you from that artifact. Wouldn't you agree, Miss Koskela?
Gwen just kind of sighs really long. Yeah, I guess.
Okay. I want you to understand, we have the resources to attempt that. I can't say for sure what specifically that will entail just yet, but to give you a no bullshit answer, we're going to have to hold on to you until we can reliably separate you from that artifact and either destroy it or put it under some kind of quarantine. That being said, I will try to make it as easy a process as possible.
Much appreciated.
Okay. Now, that kind of talk has been handled. Anybody want a beer?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. Alvar? Yeah. All right. Man would kind of disappear into the kitchen, rummage through, checking one of those long, oh God, what are they called? It's not a walk-in refrigerator. It's the ones that you have on the floor. I guess that floor refrigerator?
Icebox.
Icebox, thank you. Big old icebox. He kind of lifts the lid up on that, grunches his nose, closes it, and then goes to the actual proper old-fashioned standing refrigerator, which he opens and then finds exactly what he was looking for before pulling out a six-pack of beer. He'd go ahead, walk over, and make sure everybody got a beer before sitting down on one of the couches. All right, so this is going to more or less be a meet and greet. I'd like to get to know every member of your team, Ms. Kadavar, as well as we're going to be setting up a plan. I'm sure you're at least somewhat aware. I heard Hutchinson kind of give you the rough details on what this mission is going to entail.
More or less.
Okay.
Refresher doesn't hurt.
All right. Well, you are aware of the attack on our facilities in Red Hook.
Yes.
All right. Most of our associated artifacts and assets in the area were relocated to classified locations, with a bunch of the scholars heading up north to the Miskatonic University, where we have some measures. But for the most part, we need a new East Coast safe house, somewhere that our agents can lie their heads, lie low, relax. We can move anything from out of the country, further into the country, for one of my more secure facilities.
Establish a safe house.
More or less, yes. Considering that this is home territory for a few of you, I think it'll be relatively easy, and then we'll see. And while we're doing at while we are doing that, we can also work on at this point, the ranger looks to Gwen, getting a little research on some of the artifacts we currently have and how best to handle them. Hopefully, over the course of this mission, we can come across a little more understanding. But I'm sorry, you were gonna.
No, I'm still listening.
Okay, but that's the mission in general. I wouldn't expect anything too dangerous about it. But of course, now that I've said the words out loud, it's going to be a real shit show, don't you think?
Well, it's what I've discovered is anything that can go wrong will.
Yeah. The man leans forward and pulls out that ring of keys again, but this time spins it around until he comes to a bottle opener and cracks the top off his own beer before leaning back and taking a nice drink. All right, well, I think we should probably wait until the rest of the team is here to start talking true logistics. Miss Kadivar, we are going to be having another member join us. We've managed to get our hands on somebody who can help you maneuver things through the New York City. Someone who's kind of an expert at he pauses again, thinking of the words, but they're really not coming to him this time.
An expert at what?
Well, just moving merchandise through the city.
A smuggler.
Basically, yes.
That's the word then.
Thank you, Miss Koskela. Gwen, sorry.
So is this... So I see... Am I to understand that and this has been a very pleasant first meeting, you'll continue our previous handlers' proud tradition of bringing in outside assets as members of the team?
Yeah, but at the same time, you will have the veto power on this one. I don't feel like sacrificing the team's efficiency at the cost of that. If you say no, we'll find somewhere to put this man.
Jay, roll another character.
I can. It needs more time though.
Oh my.
Just to be a big fuck you for no reason. Do it again!
Yep.
No, I understand the necessity.
I would appreciate it if you at least met the guy first. Unfortunately, he'll probably be a little bit late compared to everybody else.
But considering the element, that level of subtlety may be something we lack.
It definitely will make things easier, I can tell you that much. There are, as always, certain elements that we wouldn't want getting their hands on the items we would be moving across the country.
Now, I've done my best in the past month to do what research I can and to actually make myself a member of this organization rather than something that, well, something extraneous.
Mm-hmm.
tell me, is it just when you say you'd be worried about people getting their hands on these artifacts, are we talking just general racketeers and those looking for a quick dollar, or are we talking more organized enemies?
Potential for both, to be perfectly honest. And at this point, the man would kind of set his beer down on the little table. I can't remember the exact specific kind of table they're called.
Table?
Yeah, coffee table. Set his beer down before getting up and sort of stepping towards the desk, where he would actually reach under one of the drawers, not in it, and pull out another folder. This is actually something I'm going to be handing over to one of your team at her request, but we do have some instances of organized, of cult activity on the East Coast, most of which, what we hear of, we deal with, but there's always the potential for something we didn't hear of slipping through the cracks. Ranger would sit down again and sort of set the folder down in the middle of the coffee table for Parvana.
And she'll pull it over and just take a quick thumb through.
You would find talks of a cult that... God, I hate it when Roll20 does this. All right. Cult that was active in the 40s. Mostly targeting young pregnant couples and leaving a trail of dead children all up and down the East Coast, sacrificed to what is, in quotes, a entity known as the King in Yellow. Pinned to that, though, however, is the final report in which an FBI team raided the location of this mobile cult. And one of the children recovered from the cult before they could possibly be sacrificed is a one sage doe.
Mm-hmm.
There are smaller files attached as well to minor cults that have been attempting to contact elder entities, but usually it seems from what you've thumbed through that most of the time they're able to be dealt with by normal law enforcement before they get any real traction.
And that's the only one that's really seemed to have made any particular amount of headway?
Yep. And that was about 25 years ago. And there hasn't been a major cult busting since then, at least according to this folder.
Thank you for this information.
Yep. Definitely going to try and keep you better in the know. You deserve it. Plus, after what you did in Vietnam for Delta Green as a whole, I'd rather have the information in your hands than quite a few other people. Now, does anybody here have any extra questions before I'm going to go ahead and say a couple hours passes and everybody else can go ahead and start showing up?
I'm good. Gwen doesn't give a shit about talking right now.
Question.
Yes, Miss Gadavar?
Separating Gwen from the artifact. When will we begin to make headway on that?
Well, my thoughts on the matter, at least, was that once we had a safe place to actually start bringing in some of our experts back from where they are up north, I was hoping that we could arrange a meeting to have her with one of them see if they could identify and perhaps find some sort of link that they could sever. And failing that, destroy the item. Plain and simple. That way we just don't have to worry about severing a link if it's just, gone. But really, until we have a safe place for our experts to conduct their research and rest their head, we're not going to be able to bring them back down to New York.
Understood. All the more reason to work hard at this.
Alvar, who's kind of been in the background this whole time, places a gigantic hand on Gwen's shoulder and gives her a bit of a reassuring squeeze.
Gwen doesn't really react, but she just she's grateful for it. She just doesn't show any outward acknowledgement.
Is there anything else you'd like to know, Miss Gadavar?
I might need some time to review this, but for now, no.
Well, take your time. It's all yours, although, considering that your agent specifically requested that information, I would ask that she'd get some time to review it when she arrives as well.
100%.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll leave you to it. I'm actually gonna go see. Generic excuse for the NPC to walk out of the room.
I have
My
other
brain-
boys to crack cold ones with.
Exactly. Yep.
Rocket is actually waiting on the back porch to have a cold one cracked with him.
Actually, the ranger would kind of pause to think about it before just quietly getting up, walking back over to the ice box, opening it up, and pulling out a big old bone with a couple of strips of just frozen deer meat still kind of clinging to it. And he'd go ahead and look at Gwen. You mind if I give this to the dog? I think he might enjoy it.
Gwen opens her mouth, and before she can say anything, Rocket has already taken it.
The ranger looks at
the
his now.
ranger's arm as well. Okay.
Yep. The ranger just kind of blinks a couple times and looks at his now empty hand before smiling and laughing. Well, I guess that answers that.
Yup.
All right. Time skip. Who's going to show up first? Who's going to be right on time?
Sage actually is fairly prompt.
Okay.
She's probably not going to be late at all. She will probably actually be 5 to 10 minutes early.
God.
She's usually early, okay?
No, just I suddenly paused to look at the chat. Oh no, our new liaison is a chronomancer.
I hope everybody enjoyed that.
Anyways,
I hope everybody enjoys that sneak peek.
you'd find
upload.
the rangers sort of standing out on the front porch and around the time, kind of checking his watch as you roll up. Again, he would walk up and say, just greet Sage with, "Hello, I'm Ranger Manson. It's nice to meet you," and hold out a hand to shake.
And Sage Doe, how are you today?
Pleasure to meet you. Parvana, Miss Cadavar and Miss Koskela are already inside, having a couple of cracking open a couple of cold ones.
How dare you?
Ugh.
I was half tempted to make the title for this stream, "Cracking Open a Boy with the Old Ones."
Just me with my vampire buddies cracking open a boy with the cold ones.
Yup.
That would
Anyway.
be really good.
Anyways,
Go ahead.
Sorry, I mean.
When is Asshole 1 or Asshole 2 arriving?
the ranger kind of pauses and thinks about it. Which asshole are you talking about?
Asshole 1 is probably Hutchinson, and Asshole 2 is probably Lukowski, or they're interchangeable. I don't give a fuck.
Well, Lukowski got the same invite you did, so should be showing up relatively soon. Hutchinson will not be at this meeting.
Oh, small joy at least. There's one of them gone.
But, Why don't we head inside? I've actually already shared this with your team lead, but we've gotten those files that you were putting some pressure on the team for concerning the cult that was.
At that, he is going to see thin air as Sage rushes inside and probably doesn't snatch it for Pravana, but she's going to stand in front of Pravana
It's just as you
semi-impatiently.
as you kind of walk through the door, like almost behind Parvana, she just kind of holds it up
You will
behind her
notice
shoulder.
It's not very patiently. She's not going to snatch it from her hand, but she's still, you can tell she's there for something.
Yeah, Parvana doesn't even really look at her and just kind of hands it off.
Pravana?
She didn't survive the time skip.
Am
She's
I-
locked in 2 hours in the past.
Oh no! Quick, crack open a cold one to try and save her.
Is my
Just
mic
see
not
Sage
working?
just kind of leaning back and forth between her 2 feet, just kind of like, okay, come on, hand it over.
I know Dan might be having trouble. Yeah.
Rip.
Dan, by any chance, does Pravana hand Sage the folder?
All right,
There
to
we go.
say
There he is.
to say the thing, I forgot that if I have XSplit as the active window, it doesn't let me push to talk.
Oh,
That's
okay.
nice.
No, I just said it's pretty much as Sage comes in and makes that noise, and which the stream will probably have heard this for the third time now. She just kind of like doesn't even kind of look, just hears her kind of hurrying in and kind of gives her the old like hand it over the shoulder like it's already held in the air for her to just take.
Thank you.
As almost before the door slams behind Sage, you would hear a voice from the doorway. Hey, before you dig too deep into that, check your guns. We're not having any loaded firearms here, all right? This is going to be safe.
Sage takes out her nicely concealed shotgun and puts it away.
Okay. It would go into the same cabinet. Again, not locked, just closed, and it would be unloaded before going in there.
I just have this mental image of like Sage unbuttoning her blouse and then just pulling out a shotgun as a slide whistle plays.
Yep, exactly. Just right out of her cleavage.
Hammer
Of
space.
course.
All right. That leaves, more or less, Anderson. Are you going to be late or early? Or right on time?
Anderson's gonna be right on time. Wetworks
Okay.
agents aren't early or late.
They
Good.
arrive exactly when they're supposed to.
That's what I was gonna say. Yep.
Yeah, they fucking well better the way it's as Wetworks agent. Well, as Anderson would roll up, either driving on her own or getting a taxi or hitchhiking. Once again, Ranger Manson would be outside, waiting, and would walk over, offering his hand, and says, "You must be Anderson. I'm Ranger Manson. Nice to meet you."
Anderson would have a single bag kind of slung over her back, and she looks like she's not handling the allergy season very well. Doesn't like the mountain air, and she's kind of a little bit grumpy. And she doesn't really grab his hand. She just kind of looks at it and then looks at him and kind of just nods like, "Hi."
Ranger Manson just kind of cocks an eyebrow before curling his fingers inward and retracting the hand. All right, everybody else, it looks like everybody else is inside for the time being. Check your guns at the cabinet, and we'll get everything going.
Anderson kind of grunts and then walks around him to go inside.
Ranger Manson would just simply follow her inside.
Sage is gonna be actually quickly talking to Bravana. She's, asshole one isn't coming.
No. It's from the sounds of it, we're free.
Okay, one asshole down, one more to go.
I'm not sure we're going to get rid of two anytime soon.
Anderson kind of eyes the two of them and then goes and grabs a beer and cracks it open kind of loudly, clears her throat, and then looks over towards Ranger Manson.
Manson. Yeah, Manson.
Charles.
No, Maryland.
Ranger Rick.
He goes by Chuck.
Oh,
You know, I was so ready to make that joke, Jay. It took me days of not naming him Chuck. Also, days of not naming him Richard, because, like, everybody in this fucking game is named Richard for some goddamn reason.
no,
They're all
just two of
dick.
your NPCs.
Yeah, just 2 of my NPCs, yeah.
So whose fault is that, Locus?
It's mine.
Yes.
It's actually, that's the name of my backup character. Unlike Jay's, he's not a crook.
Hey,
my
my
God.
character is a perfectly legitimate businessman. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. And
Are you
Rocket
trying to
is a good
convince us
boy.
or yourself? Oh God.
All right, but once everybody's kind of checked their guns and settled in, you'll have plenty of time to sit and talk as well as go over those files. Sage, again, getting the same information that Parvana had. Well, Ranger Manson seems to kind of linger near the door waiting for another car to show up, and the clock ticks on and it goes from 5 o'clock to 5:30. And right about the time that it's getting to 5:45, you can see Ranger Manson checking his watch and kind of sighing. All right, let's just get this started for now. He heads over to sort of the living room where everyone's at. Okay, so my name is Taylor Manson. I'm going to be your new Delta Green liaison. As I spoke to Miss Cadavar earlier, I'm sure you all got the brief gist of what you're going to be doing here in New York. However, I'm going to elaborate on that. With the attack in Red Hook that I'm sure you all are aware of, we've lost one of our major distribution and safe houses on the East Coast. In fact, our only major distribution and safe house on the East Coast. We've managed to relocate most of our mission critical assets elsewhere, but for the time being, we need somewhere to set up to move our agents as well as anything coming in off the Atlantic into appropriate facilities. So that's what I'm going to have y'all working on. Miss Cadavar has been promoted to your new team lead, and unlike your previous liaison, I'm going to be letting her more or less take the reins. I prefer a hands-off approach. I will, of course, be available to get you any intelligence or resources necessary. But that being said, I think all y'all would appreciate it if I just let you handle this the way that you know how. Any questions?
Think you can resource me another beer?
6 packs, another 6-pack in the fridge, Miss Cascella. Go ahead and grab yourself one.
Anderson's already at the fridge opening it up.
He prefers a hands-off approach.
Oh man.
But
Anyone have a question that's not related to the beer?
is there any ice?
Check the icebox.
Anderson nods and goes to the icebox.
As you open up the icebox, you're going to find that there is in fact ice shoved off to... Thank you for laughing before I finish my sentence.
Sorry.
There is ice in the icebox, shocker, but it's shoved off to more or less one corner of the actual floor freezer. And the rest of the icebox is filled to the brim with frozen animal parts. Deer ribs, steak, cutlets. It definitely looks like this is kind of some hunter, some of the more hunting, some of the rangers who hunt have stored some of the meat from their kills here.
Gwen tightens her grip on Rocket's leash because he fucking wants to stick his face in it.
No, he's still digging on that big old bone.
Oh, okay. We're good then.
It's only
Anderson
been a couple
grabs
hours.
a frozen deer leg and uses it to pop off the top of the beer, puts the leg back, closes the freezer, and then goes back to drinking.
Jesus.
So I assume since we are setting up a safe house, anything we need to requisition we should do before we head out.
Well, that's kind of why I'd hoped we'd have your logistics officer here to help with that, but he checks his watch again. It's now 10 to 6. He's about 50 minutes late.
That is unfortunate. Still, it sounds like you've arranged for us. Maybe not directly from the source, but to have a easier time with on-site requisitions.
Definitely. That I can promise you. You're not going to be out in the jungle with no way to get anything flown out to you. If you're in New York, we'll probably be able to bring stuff to you. Just get a frickin' cabbie to bring it to you if need be.
Even still, best not to create trails leading all the way to our new safe house.
No, that would be definitely preferential. Now, here's the question I gotta ask for you, New York natives, Miss Cadavar, Gwen, Alvar. Those of you who've stayed in the city. We're going to need a property where we can store large objects. That's why previously we'd been using a slaughterhouse. During the day, we can make it look as if any of our agents going in and out of the facility were just day workers. But don't really have that privilege now. That property has been shut down and, of course, sold off since it is no longer secure. Suggestions.
Taxi dispatch. Storage, cars can come in and out without question.
Brewery. Anderson raises her beer.
I'm thinking the taxi dispatch sounds more reasonable.
Anderson shrugs. She tried.
All right. Taxi dispatch. All right. That's a good idea. You can see the sort of gears working behind the ranger's head as he nods his head slowly.
There's probably a few ways we'll have to look in. I mean, the difficulty, of course, is we'll also have to deal with organized labor and city regulations, getting lights, but that's your end, or at least what we can begin to work on.
Yes, that more or less is going to be my end, as well as the fact that you get a taxi company and starts turning a profit, that'd be convenient for Delta Green. I'm not going to turn away a little bit of extra funding, I can tell you that much.
Well, looks like I've got my old job back.
Well, it looks like you're going to be in charge of your old job, though. Not necessarily running the cab, as much as running the cab company.
Well, looks like I have two parallel career paths on the up and up.
Hey, you and me both. Oh, at least you're not running through the hills looking for lost kids climbed up a tree.
That's another question I have. Being sent to one of the biggest cities on the East Coast, and our handler is in the woods.
Well, that's not gonna stay that way. I can promise you right now that, well, most of the facilities I've been handling on the East Coast have been up north in Maine, Massachusetts, more rural areas. You can bet that I will be available in the city. I'm not exactly certain where I'll be lodging, but I will be in the city for the process. We're just using this ranger station for the briefing, kind of power planning, and, cold beer.
Anderson raises her beer again.
If I have to pick a place for a meet and greet and a briefing, I always choose the place with, a well-stocked refrigerator.
Further questions, team?
Anderson quietly belches and shakes her head.
Sage is only half paying attention as she is still reading.
The good news is we can all speak the language on this mission.
Yeah, that should definitely be easier.
And nobody has to dress up as a nun.
Gwen snorts.
And unless you want to.
Oh, fuck off.
Ugh. Ranger Manson again. So checks his watch. Miss Cadavar, if you'd just join me outside, we're about to be joined by that team member I mentioned earlier. Like I said, if you got a bad feeling about him, we don't have to keep him on the team, but I'd appreciate it if you at least spoke to the man first.
All right. And she stands up and makes her way with Ranger Manson.
The rest of you would be left inside, unsupervised for the moment. It's going to be. She's going to just grab another beer.
Yes.
Okay, so you're 3 beers deep. Go ahead and roll Constitution for me, please.
Sage is actually going to stand up and get her first one.
Mm-hmm.
And this is probably going to be about the time she notices Alvar. She's going to be, who the fuck are you?
I'm Gwen's dad, he says matter-of-factly.
Okay.
Anderson's fine.
Anderson lived in Germany for I don't know how many years.
Yeah, she's fine with this weak local piss water.
Oh, Anderson's finally overcome her weakness to incidental con rolls.
Thanks, dude.
Also, can I take the opportunity to just kind of...
It's
Oh!
so nice to meet you, Alvar.
Dude, it's a 75! He's off to a great start.
I mean, do you want to spend luck on that?
No!
Okay.
Hang on. This is my grand plan, though. Hang on. Watch this.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Jackass.
Sorry, tell me what I see, Lucas.
You can see there's a box of Cocoa Puffs sitting out on the kitchen counter right next to the sink. It's not even been opened yet.
You
Otherwise,
wasted a spot hidden
There
roll.
is nothing interesting in this house.
I didn't waste it. You never know.
She's right.
Yeah.
Anderson's getting into the box of Cocoa Puffs.
Hey, she
No,
didn't see
Coco.
it. Gwen did. Fuck
Yeah,
off.
True. She didn't.
You roll spy hidden, and then you can steal the cocoa. Oh my god.
I'm stealing the fucking Cocoa Puffs.
Jesus
All right.
Christ!
All right, we're gonna stop this campaign's weakness around food and move on. You could see kind of a color flush in Alvar's cheeks as he reaches out to shake Sage's
Oh.
hands and smiles.
Lucas, I'm gonna shank you.
He's being polite, okay?
He's blushing. Fuck
And
you.
also,
roll a
Sage
7.
got a hard
Yeah,
Sage.
Yeah,
roll.
she got a hard charm roll. That
Oh, she
won't
did?
Which
hurt.
I didn't
causes
even
a-
see charm roll.
Respective action.
Yes.
Wait. Can I counter charm her to be unaffected by the charm?
You're gonna charm your dad to distract him from the other charm?
What?
No, you know what? Fuck it.
Please
Gwen's
don't.
punching her.
No.
What do I roll to deflect the charm roll?
You know, you really don't want to do that because your father's such a cinnamon roll, he would then immediately go and assist her, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go crawl into my bed. You guys have fun violating my characters.
It doesn't always have to be punch someone in the kidneys. Sometimes it just takes, no, Dad, no.
Yeah.
Gwen rolls up a newspaper and swats him on the nose with it.
Are you actually doing that?
No.
Okay. Alright, since this scene is an entire clusterfuck. Outside! While everybody inside loses their fucking minds over goddamn Cocoa Puffs like a gaggle of morons.
Now with more potato.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
You would see a police cruiser start rolling up the little dirt road to the ranger station. As it approaches, the ranger would step down from the porch and Oh God. Manson would step down from the porch and start walking over towards the police vehicle, which would pull up next to the rest of the vehicles in park, and you would see it would be a state trooper, wouldn't it, Jay?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
It's up to you.
Parvana would just lean over to Manson. Is he riding in front or back?
Back. The state trooper would step out and open the back door to reveal a man in a fantastic suit, just a wonderful tuxedo, splattered in blood, with a bulletproof vest on underneath the jacket, and a black bag over his head.
How aware was our new member of his recruitment to Delta Green? On a scale from 1, it's probably not going to be higher than 1, is it?
No, he knows the name of who he's working for. He knows roughly what we do. He just doesn't know exactly what the mission is just yet.
As the state trooper is trying to help him out of the car, he kind of struggles a little bit, and he's like, "Watch the seams, you cavone!"
Officer, can you go ahead and get that bag off his head? I don't think it's going to be necessary anymore. And the trooper would look back at the ranger before nodding, going ahead and pulling off the bag off of the handcuffed man's head.
Hey, this isn't Staten Island. How the fuck did you take me?
This is Ranger Station, and Manson looks back at the sign and just kind of gestures to it. And I'm Ranger Manson.
Nice
is-
fuck you to you too. What am I doing here?
Well, I'm here to offer you a job, Mr.
Listen, I ain't cutting no trees. You can take me back, trooper. Come on. And he starts trying to sit back down in the
No,
back of the car, but the state trooper pulls him back out.
Mr. Vincini, it's not that kind of job. It's the kind of job you're used to doing.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm a stand-up guy.
Mr. Vincini, if you can be honest with me, I can be honest with you. And that's just going to make this whole conversation a lot easier.
Well, who the fuck are you?
I'm Ranger Manson. This is Ms. Kadavar. We're with the government, and we'd like to offer you a job, as well as a bit of a safe haven from that trouble you ran into upstate.
Listen, I can take care of my own problems. Just a little mix-up. It happens. You step in somebody's, somebody feather duster, they get upset. It happens. But I don't need no government. What do you think you can do for me? Who you? What'd you do? Where you come from?
It's really hard to stay in fucking character right now. Oh my god.
I mean, can you remove these fucking handcuffs?
Are you gonna hit anybody?
Hey, don't give me reason to. I haven't hit him. He's a cop. I'm a stand-up guy. Why would I hit him? I'm gonna hit
Parvana
you. I know who you are.
pinches the bridge of her nose. Remove the handcuffs.
State trooper kind of looks at Parvana and then looks at the ranger before shrugging and going ahead and uncuffing Mr. Vincini.
Yeah, I couldn't have done that anyway beforehand. I wanted to see if he could do it beforehand.
Yeah.
No. So he just kind of stands there and lets them uncuff him. Thank you. Now that's how we start a conversation. What am I doing out in the middle of nowhere? It's in the city. Can't get good food here. How am I supposed to talk with no food?
There's food in the house. But before we step inside and you meet the rest of the people you may be working with, I would like to acknowledge that you'd be willing to work for us for protection, as well as
What kind of Fed are you?
well, red leather, yellow leather. Okay. God, my brain is just the worst. All right. I'm with an organization known as Delta Green. Sir, you've never heard of us? And
Oh, you're one of the spooky types.
yes, we
Oh, well,
are,
that's
sir.
different. Why didn't you just say that? Does he know? We got off him now?
No. He's with us. Stage Trooper just kind of side eyes the ranger.
Amelia kind of looks over the guy, looks him up and down, and goes, "We had an hour in the car. And he couldn't tell me shit."
The stage trooper looks at Parvana and Manson and just says, "I couldn't get a word in."
Guy couldn't answer a simple question. There's food. Come on, let's go get something to eat. Got some wine?
We got beer.
Pasta? You got what? You got beer. What? Do I look like a guy that drinks beer? Like I crack one open, like a cold one with the boys all the time or something like that? What is this? You got wine? You got some pasta? Some fazole? What?
The sooner we get back through this, the sooner we can be in the city.
You got some of that dumb American shit, Alfredo? They just pour cheese on everything.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think we really have pasta. It's mostly just
Kind of throws his
burgers.
hands up like, what kind of third world
Shit,
country
do
is
I have
this?
to do a listen roll for this, or do I?
No,
or is
I'm
he
sorry.
being loud enough?
they're out on
He's
the
loud
front
enough.
lawn. Well, they're out on the front lawn and you're inside the house. Although at this point, now that he's raising his voice, I guess you could do a listen roll.
Anderson's just stoically eating her Cocoa Puffs, trying to keep a straight face, which actually isn't that hard, but still.
Well, she's the only one that hears them.
Whatever, you babos. I don't really care. But who is this? A hard-on with a suitcase? What are we doing here?
Wait, hard on with who the hell is
It means a
he?
lawyer.
Oh,
Female lawyer.
this is Miss Kadavar. She's going to be the team lead. Your boss.
A female boss. This is a fine how do you do. What is it you need from me? You took me all the way from Staten Island. Lovely dinner. Okay, some blood was spilled. Not a big deal. But now I'm here. What do you want?
At which point, Ranger Mens would kind of lean into Parvana's ear and whisper, 6 wise guys tried to off him in the middle of a restaurant.
Well, he's here. That's a good sign.
Ranger Manson shrugs and nods.
Listen, we'll talk inside here. Just follow me. He kind of walks past them and just goes straight towards the door.
Manson would look at Parvana before kind of now he's pinching the bridge of his nose, and you can see regret lines starting to frame his face as he follows after Mr. Vincini.
And Parvana will just shrug and follow in turn.
Emilio the door just sort of slams open, and he kind of stands in the room and says, "Who the fuck are you?" Generally, to everyone.
One just stares at him.
Anderson,
Sage leans back in her chair and smiles slyly just to see if she can get a rise out of him.
Anderson's still eating Cocoa Puffs.
Alvar looks at Gwen, then looks at Emilio and just says, "I'm Alvar. Nice to meet you." Holds out his hand.
He goes up and he kind of takes both hands and pats her. It's a pleasure to fucking meet you, Alvar. You're the first person who's offered me a handshake since I got here. What kind of friggin' governments they got running this place? They treating you good? You eat yet?
They got beer.
No, I haven't had anything to eat just yet.
Fucking shame. They ain't treating anybody right here. Y'all ate?
Anderson's loudly chewing on Cocoa Puffs.
Oh yes, she has eaten.
With no response. Come on, let's go get. Let's see if that troop will give us a ride. I know a place around here, not too far. Know a guy? Great bruschetta. You love it. Come on, it's a great thing.
This
Perfect
is
thing
the
tonight.
fucking
Perfect for a
Harper's
conversation.
Added to our
Let's just
team.
get it done.
As
Anderson slows in her crunching and just kind of stares at this guy and then starts crunching again.
as Amelia would sort of gesture, you could actually see the state trooper car rolling up the dirt road that it had come, departing.
Amelia doesn't see shit.
Okay.
That's right. I didn't hear the conversation before. Oh, I was looking at. I don't know. Kind of iffy about new restaurants. They usually don't put enough cheese on everything.
Oh my god.
Amelia just looks at you and then does a double take, and then just look. I'll make something. Who's catering this event? We ain't
I'm
got
guessing-
no one's catering.
I'm
Who-
guessing that'd be me.
Hey! Hey! And he yells into the kitchen and kind of walks into it. What? There's nobody here. What the fuck are we doing here? There's no
As-
food?
As
no
you
wine?
walk, as Emilio walks into the kitchen, he's going to notice something off. Every door, cupboard, cabinet, the fridge, as well as the icebox is open.
Paranormal activity?
Anderson.
Oh.
It all is open. Would you give me a spot hidden, please?
Who?
That would be
I
Jay.
think the single rolls just don't like me.
Yeah, apparently not.
Can I test something really quick?
Yeah, go
This
ahead.
doesn't count. Yeah, I succeeded on that one. Yeah, I'm not using the single rolls anymore. Fuck
All
that.
right, fair enough. Okay, but no, you do notice the strangeness of every cupboard, the oven, both refrigerators being open, wide open, but you don't see anything else that really bothers you.
It's fucking empty. He turns back around, walks. There's nothing fucking in there. I thought we were supposed to have a conversation, Mr. Manson.
What do you mean there's nothing in there? There's
Fucking kitchen's empty. You got nothing. You got no pasta. You got no sauce. No pots. No pans.
At this point, Manson would kind of push past and into the kitchen, whereupon he would look around the room and whip his head back to Anderson, who'd been the last one in there. What did you do?
Anderson literally just like looks at him and shrugs. She takes out another handful of Cocoa Puffs and shoves it in her mouth. Keeps eating. Didn't
Can
do
I-
nothing.
Can I maybe roll, like, send something interesting on Rocket or something?
Yes, you may. But while you're doing that, Manson would kind of
Shit.
lean over the icebox and just throw his arms out wide. What happened to all the meat? This icebox was stocked. It's empty. What did anybody see something happen in here?
At this point, Anderson puts down the box of Cocoa Puffs, unslings the bag from over her shoulder, and gets out her gun.
Didn't she turn that in?
No, she never did.
Oh, well, okay. Gwen would kind of... I mean, Rocket hasn't moved out of her sight, but she still looks at him like, did you somehow fucking vacuum all this meat into you? Like, am I missing something?
Now, hold on, miss. You just put that gun back away. My accent just left me. Hold on.
Thank God.
It just literally fell out of my mouth. Hold on.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Jay is playing the Ranger.
God.
Oh boy. It's gonna be a
No, we don't need
hoedown.
none of that. You just put that back away. Some food's missing. I know it's horrible, but we don't need to kill anybody.
Anderson cocks the gun. She's not pointing it at anybody, but she just raises an eyebrow at this guy, like, you know, he was just explained that this is Delta Green. Something spooky just happened.
Can I get a listen check from everybody?
I'm okay with
Which
the fail
one's-
after all of those. For
Which
no
one's the
reason.
single roll?
Wow.
It's the green,
Green.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, we all failed.
Hang on, maybe
No, no.
Rocket's got this.
Sage
one. No,
did.
Sage.
No,
Sage
Sage
did.
did.
Oh
No, my first one failed. I'm going to go with James. I'm going to stop doing the single
Okay.
rolls.
Well, Parvana didn't fail.
Yeah, dude, so am I. Jesus, that's dumb.
Wow. Okay. While everybody is arguing about the food, Parvana, something suspicious tickles in the back of your head. You don't hear anything. And at first, you're not sure why that bothers you, but then you realize you're in the middle of a forest. And up to this point, you'd been hearing bugs, you'd been hearing the brush of wildlife, the wind through the trees. All of that is gone now. The little cabin you're in is deathly still except for the voice of Emilio yelling at Anderson to calm down.
So what you're saying is it's quiet.
It's too quiet.
Man, I need to have a role for Rocket that's basically like doggo senses paranormal activity because they can do that, I guess.
Parvana is just kind of gonna swing her arms and just be quiet for a second. Manson,
Yeah?
listen. What do you hear?
And there's a pause as
Probably my
Manson.
stomach running.
Manson lifts up a hand towards Emilio and just quietly sort of tilts his head. And that's when you all hear it. It's a familiar noise. You've all heard it before. The crack of a gunshot. Loud and booming roars through your ears. That sort of almost oppressive noise of it where you can feel it rattle your very bones. And it roars out in rapid succession. Just the sound of something along the tree line opening fire upon the little cabin.
Down!
Ranger Manson and Alvar hit the ground. Alvar taking Gwen with him.
Gwen taking Rocket with her.
Yeah, as he grabs her and throws her to the floor of the cabin. His big body protecting her as much as possible.
How close is Sage to the gun cabinet?
You guys are at sort of the back of the house. The gun cabinet's at the front of the house.
Mm,
Back of the
okay,
cabin.
then Sage is just going to duck and try to, I guess, not wiggle her way, but slowly, crouchingly make her way to the gun cabinet.
Emilio hits the ground in the way only an obese, out of shape, 46-year-old man can, which is to basically collapse into a pile towards the kitchen.
Anderson's crouched. Is the door still open?
The front door is open, yes.
Anderson's gonna kind of stick her, or well, not stick her head out, but point the gun in that general direction and fire off a warning shot.
Okay. You fire a shot.
Can I also do a spot hidden?
Only Rocket can do the spot listen.
Yeah. Why don't both Sage and Anderson give me a spot hidden real quick? All right. Sage, you realize something as you're sort of shuffling over towards the gun cabinet. If you were under fire right now, there'd be bullets tearing through the logs of the cabin. There'd be shattered glass showering across you, wooden splinters. There isn't. In fact, as you look around the cabin, you don't see the impacts of bullets anywhere. And the rattle of gunfire continues for such an extended period of time that any gun's magazine would have been emptied by the amount that it has poured towards the building with seemingly no effect.
Wow, okay. I'm of course gonna be just like, Pravana, are you seeing any bullet holes going through or glass shattering anything? What the fuck is going on?
She's gonna look up from getting to the. She's gonna look up from just hitting the deck and notice the same thing? Question mark?
Yep. Yeah, you don't need to roll spot hidden since it's being pointed out to you.
No, this is a distraction.
A distraction? Fuck, what? A distraction?
Amelia kind of pulls out his vendetta knife and flicks it open. Twice in one night. Twice in one fucking night.
All of a sudden, the noise stops. And as the sun creases over the horizon and things get dark, you're left in silence once more.
Can I look out on the tree line and once again do a spot hidden?
Yes, you may.
Can I
I-
do the
hold
same
on.
thing?
Okay. I would have failed it no matter what.
Yeah. Yes, you may, Sage.
What? That was Darby who said words.
Or, yeah, Darby, sorry.
Well, Sage is gonna do it too.
Hey,
Anderson can see Cocoa
Wait.
Puffs, but she can't see a tree line.
now the fucking the solo roll thing is disorienting me. I did succeed. Never mind.
Yes, you did.
I'm fucking stupid.
Yeah, we both
All right.
did.
Is
Okay.
there anything I can roll to check for magical shit?
No. I'm gonna. I would say no because this is kind of something you're not familiar with. Spoilers: it's something you're not familiar with.
Oh, fun.
Amelia, after you all seem to be looking, finally gets sort of pushes his way off the ground. What the fuck have we gotten ourselves into?
That's a very good question. Ranger Manson says as he pushes himself up and leans out the window. Oh, fuck, he mutters. And as he lays eyes on the same thing all of you who passed your spot hidden would see, so that's Sage and
Gwen.
you can see it along the tree line. All of a sudden, the missing meat is found. Because there it sits at
You
the
bastard.
edge. At the edge of the trees. Roughly held together in the shape of a man. Forms a rising pillar that looks it forms a rising pillar that recognizes more or less the components that comprise a human being. It has 2 arms, 2 legs, but none of the proportions are right. One arm is slightly longer than the other. The legs are exceedingly long for a human being. And sitting on the top of it is a deer skull with antlers. There is no neck. It's just sitting where a neck ought to be, on the shoulders. And as you look out the window and look at this thing, it locks eyes with you. And the skull rises up slowly as if it were opening some sort of mouth. And you can hear the exact mimicry of a gunshot echo from this creature's strange maw before it retreats further into the tree line, still facing you, but the joints bending in that unnatural, jerky way that it can retreat backwards without ever taking its dead black eyes off of you. Roll for sanity.
I knew it.
Not
This
I.
time I'm gonna use the
Yep.
single one because I want it to. Wait, no, I don't.
Emilio
Shit.
didn't see shit intentionally.
Okay.
I'm convinced that the single rolls are just cursed.
All right. So Sage succeeds her insanity. She'll be fine. You are going to take a minimum of 1 sanity loss, Sage. Birgit, you're going to take 1d4. Gwen, you still need to roll intelligence.
Yeah. Do I want to pass or fail that?
You want to fail that.
Okay. I'm gonna use the fucking one. Are you kidding me?
Roll 1d. Actually, roll 1d4 plus 2.
Why?
Because you passed it, which means you recognized exactly what it was. And that it made no sense and is sanity draining. Oh boy, that's 5, which means it's time for a temporary insanity.
Here we go, folks.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Well, while the GM is doing that, Emilio just kind of flinches when the gunshot goes again, but not seeing any, effects of the gunshot, just kind of looks over and goes, "What the fuck did we find?"
All right, give me an intelligence roll, please.
Me?
Yes, you.
Ugh.
Let's see. No, you're definitely taking an insanity. That's going to be a bout of madness.
Yeah.
Short burst of madness. Bouts of madness. Okay. Roll 1d10 for me. Maybe an 8. Physical, hysterics, or emotional outburst. The investigator is incapacitated from laughing, crying, screaming, etc. for 1d10 rounds. So go ahead and roll 1d10 for me.
Do I get to choose?
You do get to choose.
Oh my god, she's pissing herself laughing.
Okay, you are pissing yourself laughing for each round is what, 6 seconds?
Roughly.
Yeah. So the next 18 seconds, Gwen is pissing herself laughing on the carpet.
Not actually
Literally.
pissing herself, let the record show.
No,
Just
literally.
laugh. No.
You're going through a bout of insanity. It's
She
literally.
doesn't have to. Okay, it was a figure of speech, so the pissing herself part is not required.
She pees herself.
No!
I'm sorry, Darby.
No! It was a
What the-
figure. It was
What the hell kind of madhouse y'all brought me into?
This is not how this was supposed to go. What the
Just-
fuck was that?
I'm
Anderson
just
has-
gonna quickly look at Mason because she could have sworn she heard him say again. Please rephrase that. What?
I didn't say again. I said this is not how this was supposed to go. It's just supposed to be a
Okay.
fucking briefing. Not whatever the fuck that is. Jesus
Okay.
Christ,
We're
get your
all fucked!
Listen here, you fucking Gavone. What the fuck's going on here?
Alright. Oh god. Well, you were gonna get it out of him anyways, but there's a brief moment where Manson's eyes go wide and he kind
Emilio
of
has his knife out too, by the way.
yeah. He holds his hands up defensively. Alright. Summary version, Delta Green. We fight demons and supernatural monsters. You Catholic, you understand demons. That demon, that what we fight.
Emilio kind of looks to the side as he wasn't expecting that direct a response. Okay. And he kind of steps back, just absolutely stunned by the directness of it. All right. Mother Mary, full of grace, let's get this bitch.
Alright, guns. Get the fucking cabinet open. I want everything. I want everybody armed.
I don't do guns. It's too messy.
At this point, Manson he's not paying attention. He's going straight for the cabinet. He throws those doors open to find it empty.
Can I roll a luck to see if I have anything in my bag to, like, because I would just have the one gun.
Then if you would only have the one gun, no, you cannot roll luck. To see if you would have
Kitchen
extra.
knives.
There would be kitchen knives. That you don't need to roll for. The only thing that was actually missing from the kitchen was the meat locker.
Emilio just scoops up a large amount of large knives.
Is Gwen
Give
done
me your-
laughing?
Yes, she is done laughing. Alvar kind of lifts her up to her feet and brushes her off. At this point, you can see Ranger Manson rushing back to the table. He grabs every beer bottle he can find, and if they're opened but not empty, he starts pouring them across the floor.
Manson,
Yeah,
it sounded like gunshots, right?
yes, it did.
And what did you say it looked like again?
It looked like the fucking meat locker came to life and walked around.
All right, so the meat locker is empty, the gun cabinet is empty. Whatever is it? What is there anything else incredibly dangerous in this cabin?
Well, there's the generator, but that's what I'm going to go check right now. There should be some extra gasoline for it.
Well, let's go.
Listen, friend, you're just trying to burn it all up, right?
I'm trying to. No, listen. Manson kind of pauses for a second and takes a deep breath. I would rather get out of this situation. I have learned that fighting these things is a bad idea, but I'm not getting on that road with that thing out there unarmed. And no offense, Anderson, one gun's not going to cut it. I'm going to fill these bottles with gasoline so that if anything ambushes us on the road trying to get the fuck out of here, we stand a chance against it.
Oh, sorry, misunderstood. I thought you were, never mind. Don't worry about it.
What, you thought I was going to burn this place down with beer? That shit doesn't catch fire. It's like, what, 9%?
Well, I was trying to take over for you. You
Okay.
seemed out of your element.
Miss Kadavar, let's go get these bottles filled with gasoline if there's anything left in the generator.
I'm going to escort you. Anderson just kind of gets up from her crouching position beside the door.
Much appreciated. Come on. Everybody else, gather what you can. Mr. Vincini, if there's any of those knives you can hand out to anybody else, let's get everybody armed as best we can.
Look,
Emilio looks at the knives, looks at him, kind of like this look like, I'm not sharing these fucking knives.
And she
Sage pulls out her knives from her thigh and her wrist holster.
Her wrist hole.
Yeah.
Locust.
Yes,
Do I have to roll something to look around the house and look for? Gwen doesn't want a fucking knife. Something that is the equivalent of a bludgeon, basically a fucking claw hammer or something.
Give me a luck roll.
Okay. Oh. I'm gonna spend luck.
You can't spend luck on a luck roll.
Oh shit! You're right. That doesn't make sense. All right. I'll go. Wait. Can Alvar do the same?
Here we fucking go.
I knew that.
Serious though.
The problem is, if he finds something, he's going to find something for himself, not necessarily for you. And if
Well,
he
if
finds
he
something for himself, he can give it to you, but then he's unarmed.
Yeah, but I still want him to look around, if that's okay.
Okay, go ahead and look around.
Emilio,
And to be fair, let me actually rephrase this. Alvar wouldn't be looking for himself. He would be looking for the general group to have something to use. He wouldn't be. Yeah. That's Alvar. I forgot to change it, but
It's fine.
I did change it.
Okay.
Alright.
You find a toolbox. Generic gas toolbox. It's got a claw hammer, a screwdriver, and a couple of other, and maybe a Allen wrench. If those have been invented, I honestly don't fucking know. It's a wrench. It's a wrench of appropriate period.
Well, Alvar would take the wrench then, and Gwen would nab the hammer,
Okay.
and then the rest is for anybody else, I guess.
Emilio takes the knives and starts cutting at the cutting some of the curtains down. You know, the really tacky, thick, heavy ones that every cabin in the world has been equipped with since at least the 1930s. And just accidentally knocks the curtain rod on the floor, the big heavy thing clattering to the ground as he walks past it, not thinking about it, and walks back towards the generator with the curtain material.
Sage will actually pick up the curtain rod
Oh, damn
and
it.
heft it. See if it might work.
It would make an improvised weapon.
All right, longer range than knives.
There are probably more of those. Out of character.
Yeah, it probably has more than one window, so there's probably lots of those curtain rods, actually.
I got a hammer, I'll live.
Okay, then.
as the group heads outside, they are going to find the generator as well as some extra gasoline, and Ranger Manson goes immediately about filling up the beer bottles with gasoline as much as reasonable, but filling them to about halfway before moving on to the next bottle.
Emilio cuts strips and puts them in top. He
Okay.
gets the plan.
Forgetting that I don't have this popped out to a separate window like I do when I'm streaming. Okay. Let's see here. Okay.
Sage will start taking the filled bottles and putting the cloth through them and stuffing them so that the gas doesn't fall out, but yet it can still absorb the gasoline.
As you are gathering up what's in the box, you can see Alvar stiffen. His spine goes rigid and his eyes go glassy for a moment before he sort of slumps and relaxes and looks at Gwen, just kind of bleary-eyed for a moment. Gwen?
Gwen just stares at him for a second. Are you okay?
Oh, it'd be better if I'd left your whore ass in Finland, you slut. I should have never brought you to this country. You've been nothing but trouble. Look at the mess you fucking got me in now, you rotten little child. I should have strangled you in your crib, you filthy little monster.
Anderson trains the gun on him.
Gwen is very shocked and just kind of stumbles back a few steps and nearly trips over Rocket and lands on her ass.
As she stumbles backwards, Alvar advances towards her, his entire body, upper body sort of tensing. And
Oh boy.
suddenly you see a little bit of clarity return to his eyes, and he blinks away, looking around the room and seeing the gun trained on him by Anderson. What? Why are you pointing that at me?
Anderson raises an eyebrow, kind of like, you tell me.
That doesn't answer my question. You see Alvar sort of start to raise his hands non-threateningly.
Anderson
Gwen is-
glances back towards Gwen. It's kind of like, is this normal?
Gwen is still kind of on her ass on the ground, just staring at him in shock.
Rocket has now assumed a defensive posture around her, back arched, actually baring his teeth at Alvar, which is strange, but he hasn't started to growl yet. However,
Oh boy.
no, he still continues to not growl, and Alvar just keeps his hands up and says, "Drop the gun. We're on the same side here. Isn't this stressful enough? Why are you pointing that at me?"
Anderson's still got the gun trailed on him, and she's looking over towards Gwen, keeping him kind of in the peripheral of her vision.
Don't fucking shoot him, Anderson.
Anderson shrugs. She's not going to shoot, but she's a little confused as to what the fuck just happened.
Those of you who are outside with the generators, that's going to be Emilio, Parvana.
Oh, wait, I said I was following you guys.
Oh, that's right. You're not inside.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It makes more sense to keep the scene where the gun.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm there.
All right, so who's outside then? Emilio, Parvana,
Sage was
Ranger.
outside.
Sage. Okay, all of you roll spot hidden. Okay, and oh boy. As you're going through the process of making your Molotov cocktails, a speck of movement catches your eyes along the tree line, far away from where you had first seen the beast disappear, but now seems it's reemerged from the brush. You can at the very least see that gleaming white skull in the fading light, as well as the movement of its visceral hands. It seems to be winding something around each finger, and then unwinding it, and winding it again, like a string.
How far away?
About 100 feet.
Ah, shit. That's beyond my strength and base range.
Mhm.
Emilio just kind of... Because the only people that see are Emilio and Parvana?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Emilio just kind of sort of roughly smacks Sage's shoulder. Sage and Parvana's shoulder to get their attention, though obviously Parvana
yeah.
already saw.
She just kind of shoots him a look, just like, it's like, yes. And then she looks to it, and so it's kind of wrapping a, as you said, string.
It looks like a string.
It
yes.
looks like a string. With her newfound research, does Parvana recognize the gesture?
No, but you recognize a spell being cast. You're not sure exactly what it's doing, but you know it's not good. It doesn't seem to be focusing on you, though. It seems to be staring deeper into the house. At that, Anderson, I'm going to need you to roll willpower.
I'll roll willpower. Hold on. That's just power, right?
Yeah, it's just
Yes.
power.
Mwah.
Oh no.
Someone please help Gwen!
You see Anderson's eyes go foggy, and her back seems to stiffen as in her seat she rises up a little bit before she pulls the trigger. Squarely at Alvar. All right, let's go to your sheet. Let's go to your sheet.
Do the people outside get to take actions?
You do get to take actions.
Okay. Obviously, we can't stop that because we don't know anything about it.
Thanks for fucking killing Alvar. Like,
Should I
No, hang on.
roll my gunfire to see if
Oh.
Oh, shit.
oh my god!
the one time she actually is successful?
That's 20 damage.
What?
He does get a dodge roll.
Oh my god.
He has to beat a 2, Locus.
Oh my god, you're gonna fucking kill him immediately?
Wow.
Oh,
Looks like it.
boy.
Yeah, because he's not wearing any armor.
Anderson actually manages to do her job.
Wait. Okay, can I don't know if this is a viable option, and it probably isn't, but I didn't want to interrupt you when you were explaining that, but if Gwen was watching this happen and she was seeing Anderson stiffen up the same way that Alvar had just done,
Hang
would
on,
it be...
I've got something. Rocket was preparing an action to attack if he saw a threatening presence.
Alright.
Because you saw it. He had his back arched. He was in threatening posture.
In other words,
Mhm.
choose your NPC wisely.
Would you like to spend 4 luck?
Yes!
Okay.
Is that on...
That's going to be on Rocket. Actually,
Rocket
that's
doesn't have luck, it'd be on Gwen.
Yeah, that's going to be on Gwen.
Okay, so 60.
Actually, I will say that's going to cost, since he doesn't have luck, that's going to cost you a gold coin.
I have... Do I have one remaining? Oh, yeah, I got exactly one remaining.
Okay.
Fuck you. I got one remaining.
All right.
Is that
'cause now
instead
I
of the
am.
luck or in addition to it?
What?
Is
That's
that
in,
instead of
yeah,
the luck?
that's in addition because the doggo
Okay.
doesn't have luck.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
Rocket, in response to seeing Anderson go for the trigger, grabs it in his jaws and yanks it aside, sending the shot into the ceiling. Finally acting upon his police training,
Thank you, Locust.
Yeah.
Can I? Is this like combat mode where I have to wait turns, or can I do things?
No, you can do things. But first,
Okay.
we're going to go to the party outside because they've kind of noticed things happening. All right.
We would have heard the shot at the very least.
Well,
Yeah, you
before
would-
that, we saw the guy.
Yeah, you
so-
did see the guy. So you're basically not acting, you're acting at the same time as the shot.
So Emilio's gonna like lean into Parvana and say, "Don't worry, I got this. I dealt with folks like this before." And he's going to basically grab one of the Molotov cocktails and light it, and then go running towards the thing at the woods, shouting
Bye,
at the top
Emilio.
of his lungs.
Oh, that's not good.
You definitely got its attention. As you can actually see it sort of rise from its crouched position and that bleached skull twist towards you.
Well, he's
And-
not going to run all the way to it. He's going
Right.
to run about 30 feet, basically to be within about 60 feet of the thing, and then he's going to throw the Molotov cocktail.
Yep, go right ahead, throw it.
That's so lucky.
Wow, that was close.
Still a
was close.
success.
Yeah.
It's also an area of effect weapon, so
Okay. Jesus. Keep forgetting where I put this thing.
XSplit's crash earlier won't let me open PDF, so I can't look up anything.
Yeah.
It took out all of my Adobe. It took out pretty much everything but Windows Explorer. So until I reboot, I'm kind of fucked. So you'll have to look that
Yep.
up for me.
That is 2d6 plus burn. Base range is strength feet.
Yep.
You got 60
Strength is 65.
Yeah. Okay.
So he ran 30 feet, which is more than capable of him doing, even at his age.
Yep. Okay. That's going to be a hit. It's not really going to get to do dodge because that is an area weapon. Go ahead.
It does
and-
roll something against burn, though.
Well, I've got something for that first.
Okay.
I just need to remember. I'm looking up how that lurks. Go ahead and roll 2d6 for me.
Is it just 2d6 straight?
Yeah, just 2d6 straight. Nothing, not plus anything.
Better than average.
Okay.
He has a parting word, but I'll wait for us to know the full effect.
Okay. You see as it doesn't actually smash on the monster itself, but rather the branches above it, and it has a pronounced effect. You see fire, burning gasoline rain down on this creature. And it doesn't make a noise. The fire does. You hear the glass shatter, you hear the bubble of burning skin and gasoline, but there's no scream. There's no cry of pain. The creature twists and turns as much as it can, showing that it's definitely not happy about being on fire. And then you can see chunks of burning meat that had previously been frozen fall off of this creature in great big piles before it goes still. And you just see the frozen meat on the ground, charred and burning amongst the trees. Inside, Anderson regains control of herself to find that she's wrestling with the gun with a German Shepherd.
And there's the shout from outside, "Take that, you fucking Kazone!"
Gwen would have also jumped on Anderson and actually, because, you know, Rocket is great, but he doesn't have opposable thumb. She would actually be trying to pry the gun away from her.
Anderson would have stopped what she's doing, like very confused, and kind of let go of the gun.
Gwen more or less rolls onto the floor, since that was really the way she was holding on to it. Rocket, back arched, is growling at her, and Alvar standing behind Rocket, more or less Rocket between his legs with his fist raised like he's about to club Anderson in the face.
Anderson like raises her hands. Her eyes are kind of wide. She doesn't really understand what the hell just happened. And she's looking between Gwen and Alvar. Like the last thing that she remembers is Alvar like yelling.
Gwen just kind of takes a few steps back, and she's not really pointing the gun at anyone, but she's holding it in front of her, like she would be able to raise it and potentially use it if she had to. And she's just kind of, what?
No, go ahead. Finish.
She's just kind of looking between Alvar and Anderson, and I don't mean to like roll animal handling for it, but she would ask the dog to come to her, but it wouldn't be a command so much as just like a request.
You would get a rocket between your legs. He would paw and stalk over to you, but he would still be in his defensive grr mode between your legs. Again, very police military dog training. At the same time, after hearing the gunshot, Ranger Manson would have put the gasoline down and grabbed one of the Molotovs, not lighting it, but rushing back inside the house where he would hold it up ready and have the lighter next to it. What the fuck is going on in here?
No, don't fucking light that. Everyone just sit down.
What? He kind of pauses but doesn't really, drop his stance. He says, "What the fuck happened?" He replies a little more calmly.
I don't fucking know. I don't care how fucking nice you are. I'm not doing this anymore.
Anderson is still incredibly confused as to what's going on, and she looks just a little bit upset. Kind of not sad, but like, yeah, we're just gonna go with upset. I can't word.
Okay. Ranger Manson would kind of glance out towards the one of the windows outside and just kind of raise his voice. "Did you get it?"
Emilio's just kind of comes in. You see the fucking throw?
Yeah.
3 times. All-state football champ.
Parvana would
239. Still got it.
Parvana would pretty much follow in right afterwards. It's like, that was a good throw.
You almost hungry? That smells good. We'll go check the kitchen.
Manson
So you
clicks
want
his,
to pass the
lighter
nut
shut.
barbecue.
Manson clicks his lighter shut and lowers. "Why don't we drop our guns, figure out what the fuck just happened? But he calm down."
Anderson kind of just looks pointedly at the ranger like, my gun is not in my hands anymore. Come on.
Well, he's more talking to Gwen. Alvar, you can see his fists dropping, kind of looking around the room, beads of sweat creasing his brow.
Parvana steps forward. Alright. What happened? Gwen.
I don't fucking know. My dad's telling me he should have strangled me in his crib, and she tried
What?
to fucking shoot him.
I'd never say that.
I'm not making it up. It came out of your mouth.
Alvar, you can see visibly distressed. Like, out of everything, this has got him the most upset.
Anderson's got her brow furrowed and is just kind of like, I tried to shoot him.
Neither of you remember these actions.
Anderson shakes her head no.
Ranger Manson just takes the hand that had been holding the lighter and rubs his face. Jesus Christ.
Alright. If this is the
Sinking
case,
into one of the chairs.
if this is the case, we can't be here. We need to get out very, very soon. When you remember some of the things we've seen and how they have some strange abilities,
Yeah.
we saw it out there before a very, very, very good throw. But I saw it activating some of those abilities, and if I'm putting 2 and 2 together, then that was not Anderson's actions, that was not your father's actions. That was manipulation. And if it has the ability to creep into our minds, then we're not even safe here amongst each other. We need to we need to be better prepared. We're being taken by complete surprise here.
At this point, Alvar would be stepping towards Gwen, kind of reaching out, one hand slowly, almost like the way you would approach a dog that's, very scared. Honey, sweetie, lower the gun. I would have never said that. I love you. You're the light of my life. I love you, sweetie. And just lower the gun.
Gwen just kind of slowly shifts to put the gun on some surface behind her.
She would then get the biggest hug of her life as Alvar squeezes her to his chest, and you can actually feel a few tears wetting the top of her head.
And she hugs him
Emilio
back.
walks out with a glass of water, just kind of downs it and sits on the counter. Oh, well, isn't this a touching scene?
Fuck off!
I'm really hungry. Why don't we go someplace, a good place, great food, okay? I think we all could just take a moment, sit down, fill ourselves up, and just, let's just talk this out.
Is it far away from here, Emilio?
Anderson's remembering the sight of the massive meat monster and is just kind of like, I'm not hungry.
We gotta get out of the fucking trees first, but after that, yeah, it's not too far.
Good, far enough. Out of trees is great. Let's go.
Sounds fucking
Hey!
great, you hear Manson say from his seat. We're going to want to split up the weapons between cars. I know you all came in your own vehicles, but we're going to want to travel as a group, as many people into a car as we can fit. We're not getting split up, not getting isolated.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a ride. My ride kind of left.
If you come
Anyone?
anywhere near my car, I'm gonna break your kneecaps.
All right, come
Oh,
with me.
hey!
We'll just leave your car for the night, Gwen. I can fit six of you in mine.
Technically, actually, it's Alvar's car.
What? You're driving a cab? That's 4. We've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, dog, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think that'll work. 3 in one, 4 in another, or we won't. Yeah. Let's just take Parvana's car and my truck. How's that sound?
Hey, that's great. And Emilio walks over, puts his arm around Ranger Manson's shoulder. Can we take a stop quick? I gotta change of clothes. I don't think this is appropriate attire anymore.
We can stop anywhere you want as long as we get out of these fucking woods.
Great, I know a guy. No problem.
All right. And at that, when the party begins shuffling outside to get in cars to flee this terrifying ranger station, let's go ahead and call it for the evening.
Oh wait, one thing.
Hmm.
Right before they leave, it's just like, and Parvana just thinks, if Chase was here, he'd burn this place to the ground.
Disembodied voice. Yeah. Do it anyway.
Roll for sanity.
We probably should burn this place to the ground.
What? This is a ranger station. We'll get people to come through here who are better equipped to deal with this than we are. Listen, we'll deal with it. If it needs to get burned to the ground, trust me, it'll get burned to the ground. But let's not go doing that out of hand now.
All right.
All right. Talk when we've got some cooler heads and we're the fuck out of here,
I don't know, burning it to the ground sounds like good.
says the pyromaniac. All right, that's more or less going to be it for the
And
evening.
they all went and had bruschetta and antipasta.
Thank
Had
you.
a general good time.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Thank you for showing up, everybody, and have a lovely evening.
Wait,
Good night.
which old one is antipasta?
Oh my god. Ah,
Go bone.
close the stream.
All right, that's my job.